Greetings and welcome back to Smartwatch Ticks. If you remember back on the 4th of July 2018, we did an unboxing of the IQI i7 prototype. It wasn't ready for prime time. They didn't have all the firmware and software set, but they at least had the physical construction done. Well, here we are in August, and I have in this box the final production unit, yes, of the IQI i7, which is currently available from Gearbest. That's right, they have it in at Gearbest. Check the show notes down below for the buying link to pick up the IQI i7, and you will find, in terms of specs for this thing, that it's got an MTK 6737 processor with Android 7 as the operating system, 16 gigabytes of RAM, or storage, total storage rather, and 1 gigabyte of operational memory, the RAM, with all of these types of connectivity, including 3G and 4G connectivity. What else have we got? An AMOLED screen, 400 by 400, standard stuff, and a whole bunch of languages that are supported with this watch. Now, at the same time I'm telling you about this, I am also going to tell you about this. Inside this box is something very, very similar to the IQI. It's called the Bakee, B-A-K-E-E i7. This one is available from Banggood. Now, the word is that they're pretty much the same watch supplied by IQI, and that's why I'm combining them together in this overall review, because it's exactly the 1.39-inch 4G, 1+16. Everything looks basically the same. Spec-wise on the Bakee, we have all of this information. Now we're showing the supported networks in terms of frequency letter combinations. Looks like a more limited number of languages, but it may be that they just don't have the complete exhaustive list there. Nonetheless, there's the overall specs on the Bakee. And buying links will be in the show notes for this one as well. So what we're going to do is get into this box with the IQI i7, which looks surprisingly like the prototype that we got. But we're going to take a deeper dive because now we can actually turn it on and check out the software. We've already done an unboxing, and actually I already have it turned on and set up. We got the manual, we've got the charger. No need to go through that. Look at the unboxing from the 4th of July if you want to learn more about what's in the box. What we want to get into is how it works. Again, on the back, we've got a single screw that covers a nano SIM card area where you can put in your 4G SIM if it will work in your country. Once again, all of these smartwatches only work on the GSM network. GSM, that means AT&T and T-Mobile in the USA. And even then, it's possible that it's not going to connect up properly for you. I haven't had much success, have not tried it yet on the production unit. That's for an upcoming video when we do all of the analysis of the connectivity. This is just a quick look of what's inside of it right now. But if you have everything correct and you're able to put the 4G SIM in there and get connected data, then you should be able to get high-speed communications over cellular. Your phone calls will always default to 3G. These are not 4G LTE, in other words, where your phone calling is digitized and you get that really crisp sound like you do on your phone. You'll always get just 3G telephone calling. The only difference is you could get 4G data connectivity as opposed to 3G. And again, that's dependent on your area and coverage information. And as you see, we're running through the stock watch faces that are installed on the i7 as I'm rambling on about connectivity, just to get you an insight into what comes in terms of stock watch faces. You, of course, can add custom watch faces to these watches, and there's plenty and plenty to choose from. We even have an online workshop where you can design your own if you want to. But you got quite a few different watch faces that come with this one. Let's talk a little bit about this case. The case itself is a carbon fiber composite. You see the patterns in it? And it's like a molded overlay bezel here. We have mixed opinions on the social media about that. Some people love it, some people can't stand it. It's going to be a matter of opinion, I guess. It's solid. It feels kind of plastic, but it's a little sturdier, apparently, than regular plastic. Probably not as prone to any kind of scratches or cracks. But again, it's a design intention. You can see with a watch face like this that it's almost edge to edge. You have a very, very small black border around the edges, as opposed to some of the other watches where we have a flush bezel on top. One comes to mind in particular, the LEM7. Very similar to this. In fact, at the very end of this review, I want to show you the two of them side by side, so don't go away. But it has a really big black bezel where we have this actual bezel here. So one of the deciding factors you may think about in choosing an Android 7 smartwatch will be its look and feel. What do you like the bands that lay flat like this, or do you like the solid ones that tend to stay curved, as you'll find in the LEM7? Now, when you get into here, you can add these different watch faces by clicking on the little plus button down here and go to the server. Once, of course, you're connected to the internet, you're able to do that. Okay, so let's walk through this. From the watch face now, if I slide down, I get into the first panel. It shows me overall power, Bluetooth, and cell connectivity. It'll say 3G or 4G, it should, when it hooks up right next to that. If I go over to the right, you get all of these symbols, which include making noise or silent mode. The quiet mode is off, quiet mode is on. It's a picture of a moon inside of a watch. This is your overall brightness level, and it can be quite bright and pretty dim. And you've seen me, I've put in a thing called display brightness on a lot of my watches that gives me a gradient control over brightness. But you have those three levels there. This is your twist the wrist to show the time, airplane mode, cellular data connectivity, turn it off if you're not going to be using it. The watch tends to get hot and runs the battery down if you have the 4G SIM card in there. Just a word of warning. Location services ties in with GPS, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi. Okay, then you get over here and you got this one button cleanup thing. I really don't know what it does or if it helps, but it's there. You go one more and you've got your music player, and you see we have one more dot, and off camera I'm going to switch over there to show you that I get my weather, and where my thumb is the actual location, and it's showing you now both in Fahrenheit and centigrade what your weather report looks like. And that is the top row that you get by swiping down. From this row, if I go over here to the right, you get any notifications you have waiting for you. If I go over here to the left, I get the app drawer one more time, and I get this sports section, and that's all. So let's look at this real quick. You have a few options: an outdoor run, an outdoor walk, an indoor run, a bike ride, playing basketball, playing football, ping pong, badminton, and rope skipping. Of these, the logical ones that you would be using to accumulate distance would be an outdoor run, or an outdoor walk, or riding a bike, right? And typically on sports watches that have built-in GPS, it switches to GPS to compute this information. Unfortunately, what we've seen on these Android 7 watches that have this sports section in here, it still relies on pedometer step count to compute all of your distances, if there is distance involved, for all of these different activities. Many of them, there's no distance, playing rope skipping, playing badminton, all those things. But the ones that do have it do not tie in with GPS, and that's unfortunate. That's a definite drawback that I would say if that's important to you to get accurate distance, you really want to go to a sports fitness watch and not a sports watch wannabe crammed into an Android watch. We'll visit that again in a minute. In terms of the app drawer now, these are the stock apps. Your basic contacts, phone, and messaging tie in with the SIM card that you put in it. It's not Bluetooth tethered to your phone, and that is not supported in Android 7. You're not going to see any Android 7 watch yet that has the ability to pull your contact list from your phone, for example, place a call from your watch through your phone using your phone number, answer a call that comes into your phone from your watch. Cannot do that. That is something in Android 5.1 you're seeing, but not in any of the new Android 7s. When you get into the settings, you see you have sound display, your overall app list style, connection for all of your stuff, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, as well as cellular. A gesture, which is where you can turn on or off the screen showing the time when you twist your wrist, or pedometer. If you're not going to be using the sports fitness, you may as well turn that off and save some energy. An overall power savings, language and input, date and time, resetting the equipment. You can uninstall the applications, including the stock ones that came with it, which is interesting. Under Android 7, you're able to do that. I don't believe it's freeing up any space for you, really. Maybe in the RAM, but anyway, I would not recommend deleting any of these unless you really, really don't want them in there, because they're probably necessary for the system to work. And about the watch and a more. In the more is where you have your accounts, Google Play services, all these other kind of things. We're seeing that in Android 7, which we haven't seen on other watches. As far as the watch itself, it's known as the i7. It's running Android 7.0. These are the magic numbers. There's the kernel version, the build number, and the baseband number. And of course, it's through here that you'd go to wireless update. And if you're on the internet, it'll check and see and let you know if you have a push update for you. Notice that it's being displayed in the box, and that, of course, is available here. When you press the power button, you can switch back to being full circle if you want to as well. Okay, so that's happening in settings. Beyond that now, we have a standard browser, a downloads area, your calendar and clock, the onboard camera on the side, a 2-megapixel camera, gallery to look at those pictures, the music player to play music that's on here now that you actually have installed in the 16 gigabytes of storage, a basic sound recorder you can use, file manager, which shows you the amount of available memory that you have after you subtract out the operating system and firmware and ancillary software that they've installed. Out of the 16 gigabytes, you have almost 12, and very little has been used because this is pretty much right out of the box. Your heart rate monitor on the back, and an overall fitness. Now, when you go in fitness, you notice that this looks a lot like what we saw in that third tab over, right? Past the app drawer, there was all the fitness categories that included an outdoor run, and an outdoor walk, and an indoor run, and a riding the bike, right? Playing basketball. These are all exactly the same activities that you can access in a different way that's more colorful. So they've presented to you the same, even rope skipping, the same information twice. Don't worry, it's going to show up in a sense in a third place before we're done. You have weather, where you can check your weather, and that's the third tab, fourth tab over we saw on the top thing. Your overall Google Voice search, the Google Play Store, Google Maps, and an assistant. Now, when you go into the assistant, this is where you're going to connect up to the tethering app, and you say connect the phone, and there's a QR code that when you scan is going to pair this together with your phone. We'll do the whole tethering thing in another video later. This is just a quick first look, but this is where you'd get in there, and once you're tethered, you can do things like remote capture, remote music control, where you can play the music that's on your phone from your watch, and find your device. So if you lost it, you can find it. And those are all the stock apps that come in here with the i7 watch. And they were available right from the watch face. Remember? Let's change to a different face, makes it look a little more like a real watch. How about that one? Notifications, watch face, apps, fitness, right? Now, we have one more thing. If we swipe up, look at this. We're back into fitness again, but step count fitness. This is your daily average just walking around. There's your number of steps and calorie or distance traveled, it looks like. And you have a bar chart Monday through Sunday. You have dots at the top, which says there's more pages. There's your overall step count for the day, kilometers walked, and calories burned. All that related to just the installed pedometer and independent now from all of these categories that you could actually go in. When you go into these, you're getting a timed sequence that will give you a stopwatch count versus your heart rate versus calories burned on most of these. You hold it for finish, I think. And it gives you a summary. So you see, that's how all that stuff works. Bring it back. And the ones that actually have some distance to them, when you run those, an outdoor run, well, it's still stuck in the summary here. Let's delete that. Outdoor run. And you can set targets. You can set a target duration in minutes or distance or calories burned because it's tracking all of those. Once again, distance is going to be computed from your step count multiplied by a factor of your stride, which you're not able to set in this watch, it's a generic one. So your total distance is going to be way different than what you'd get if this actually tied in with GPS. Nonetheless, you can hit go, and when you start this one, it's going to accumulate all of this information in addition to just your blood pressure and time. All right? And we would be looking for GPS symbol flashing here if it were tied to GPS, but all we have is the location, it's kind of a location indicator for your distance, and this would increase based on step count. And again, we can finish that and delete it. Okay, and all of that is different than what you're getting down here in your overall step counts. Totally confused? I hope not, because this is foundational for Android 7 implementation on smartwatch. Hello, LEMFO LEM7. I just want to show you. This is the same basic concept watch as this one is. And when we go in here and look at the layout, they are identical. Okay, the clean thing is identical. The music player, the next screen over is the weather, right? If I go here to my notifications, they're the same. If I go here to the app drawer, it's the same. Contacts, phone, messaging, settings. Look at them. So all of these watch companies have picked up the implementation of Android 7 stock, and they've written a little bit of an interface around them. That's their own firmware. Put in a few of their own watch faces, and added a few special apps. On the LEM7, you notice there's an operations guide and translator, which is a Microsoft translator. We demonstrated that one before on a review of this one. That's downloadable from the Google Play Store. If you really like this, but you want the translator, that's fine. You can get this and you can download the translator. The operation guide is just a little text document that is guidance on how these things work, kind of an FAQ. And Settings Search is an app that I've put in that allows you to go deeper into looking at the overall settings. So that could also be installed on this one as well. So that's what you get here. And of course, if you go one more over on both of them, look, you got exactly the same interface for the sports fitness stuff. You've got exactly the same thing when you go into the fitness on either one of them. The icons are slightly different, but you've got the same interface exactly. Okay, and coming back, we go up and you're in exactly the same graphic for your step count. So what I'm saying, folks, is we're seeing a lot of Android 7 watches on the market. Every single one of them so far looks the same when you get into it. So make your choice based on price, based on look and feel. Again, this is the one with the stiff bands. This is one with loose bands. They're not removable, mind you. There's antennas in here. You see the cutout for that. In both of them, there's antennas. But they have a different look and feel for them. We've got the same camera. You've got basically the same everything. So, for the LEM7 itself, not the LEM7, that's that one. Look at the review on that one for picking that one up if you like that particular watch. But we're talking about the IQI I7. It's available right now from Gearbest. Check the show notes and you can pick that one up. If we have a coupon discount for you, we'll give you that as well. It is also coming out known as the IQI I7, and that version is going to be available from Banggood. And it already is. You can, again, check the show notes and shop around, see which one you like. It helps us if you can use our links, as that ties us back into getting more products from our sponsors. But yay, if you find a better price someplace else, significantly better, go for it. All right, you've been watching Smartwatch Ticks. Appreciate you being here. I will do more on this. We are definitely going to want to check out the cellular. We'll probably do a comparison across these Android 7 4G watches to see which ones will work. Now, it's limited here because I'm in a specific place in the USA with very few choices. Your country, your experience will be different. I understand Australia, Europe, parts of Europe, and of course China have no problem at all with the 4G connectivity. So use my reviews with a grain of salt because I may not have that frequencies that are supported in these watches. Anyway, we will be back with more. Thank you for watching, and yeah, we'll see you again soon.